Hello, BookTube.
Hello, BookTube.
How's that for an opening trio of faces? I'm back with Deb, and I thought as long as she's here and puppy sitting, we would do another tag. Tag is very popular on BookTube.
Yes, they are.
They simulate conversation starters.
They are.
In a community that's entirely composed of crippling introverts who
what
don't start conversations on their own.
What BookTube doesn't know is that's the only way you and I can communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk in tags.
Yeah, we never talk other than that.
Frida's antics are not planned, but she's had a wonderful day.
She played with her squirrel.
And can you attest to BookTube that they might not trust my objectivity, that she is, objectively speaking, a wonderful little dog?
She is. She's a sweetheart.
We've both had the whole spectrum of dogs, from problem cases.
My dog got sent home from the groomer this week, halfway through his haircut, because he didn't want them to touch his head, and he looks so very, very stupid. His haircut is.
It serves him right if he can't behave.
It looks like, you know, what Steve's haircut used to look like when he would get drunk and try to cut his own hair. That's how bad it looks.
All right, we're going to choose a different tag. We're going to choose the Deb is a butthole tag. Oh, wait, BookTube hasn't made that tag yet, but the minute they know you a little better, there'll be Deb is a butthole tags floating around left, right, and center. But in the meantime, I have a tag. Once again, okay. I told her, and I'll tell you once again, my motivation is simply because I'm not sure I know the answers to these questions, and I want to hear them. And it'll be a weird change of pace for you, because, as I've mentioned, Deb is the human version of me. And I didn't even come up with that. That was a coworker at Barnes & Noble.
I think that was Phil. I think Phil came up with that, yeah.
But we had one young employee, I forget her name. God, it must have been 20 years ago. She said that, I said, well, does that mean you don't like me? And she said, no, everybody here likes you and Deb. If we want to laugh and feel good about ourselves, we go and talk to Deb. And if we want to laugh and feel bad about ourselves, we go and talk to you. Just because I called them time-wasting non-entities. All of a sudden that's making them feel bad? Snowflakes.
Yeah. Yes.
I had fun at my info desk. I wasn't always scrupulous about whether or not anybody else had fun. But it's called the Your Readership tag.
Okay.
And the first question is, who influenced your beginning as a reader? How did you begin as a reader?
I guess it would have to be my mom, because she read to me.
Really?
Yes.
And what after that? It was the normal progression of things? You were read to as a parent, and then you had some encouraging teachers, or an encouraging experience at the library?
No, I think I was just a reader from the get-go.
Wow.
I
envy that.
I just loved books.
Okay, question number 2 is along the same lines. What's the first book you remember?
I don't remember the title. It was a children's book about a horse. And when I say children's book, I mean a picture book. It was a picture book about a horse, and my mother used to read it to me so often, and then I would read it, and it kind of fell apart, so I don't remember what it was.
You mean your mother read it to you until you could learn to read, and then you read it yourself?
Probably.
Wow.
My mother said as she read it to me, I used to say the words along with her, even before an age where I was obviously reading, but I'd memorized the story. Wow. So there was that.
Okay, the third one. I had to deal with myself when I did it. It uses the word impact as a verb, but nevertheless, what is the first book that impacted you? Because I guess the person who made the tag was just too busy to write what was the first book that had an impact on you.
The first book that had an impact on me?
Yeah, so not the first one that you remember or anything like that, but the first one that actually did something to you as a reader.
I'm not 100% certain, because I've always read, so there wasn't a moment where I was like, oh, this reading thing, I really like this. I
guess it was a totally gradual experience.
Yeah.
It's just never a part of your life where that wasn't there.
Yeah, there's never a part of my life where books were not the central thing.
Okay. Question number 4 is, what author was your first love? Do you remember the time when you started thinking of authors as people? This is a person that I want to know as opposed to these are books I want to read? Now, of course, in the present day, it would be Livy. Can't keep the two of them apart.
Oh, I love Uncle Livy.
You're one of the only people I know that got Livy right from the beginning. So many people go to, an ancient Roman historian, that's going to be so intimidating and boring. And you got him right away. That all he's doing is just telling you great stories.
It was like somebody sitting by your bedside reading to you. Except, obviously, I was reading it myself, and he's long dead.
I don't know why more people don't get that. It was. But what about the first time something like that happened? Or if not the first time, the earliest time. Do you remember early times? Where all of a sudden you felt like an author was your own. Maybe an author that you didn't think many people knew about. Needless to say, for most of BookTube, that was J.K. Rowling.
I would say maybe when I was in college and I read Nabokov for the first time. And I was just floored by the wordplay and the language.
Okay. But did you associate it with him? Did you?
Yes.
Because he was relatively contemporary. He wasn't from centuries ago.
Right, but I would say I would say it was him.
Okay.
I don't think I read a lot of like classic stuff, like the Greeks and the Romans and anything pre 1800s.
Okay.
I would say until I was an adult.
Okay.
I read a lot of junk. Well, I still read a lot of junk, but I read a lot of junk as a teenager.
I'm just realizing that your answer to the question of what author was your first love was Nabokov. I think we could probably have picked something more PG-13. I didn't realize. I didn't put two and two together until I thought about that. But, Deb was awakened into book love by Nabokov.
No, I think that was the first time I realized that you could use language in an interesting way other than just telling a story. Where it was the language itself that counted for something.
The language itself. And you found that since with other authors, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
All right, question number 5. We stumbled over the answer to question number 5 last time.
Okay.
At least one answer to question number 5. We'll try it again.
Oh, it's not about music.
What is one book that's been on your TBR too long?
Oh God.
Last time it was Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice.
Any other reading sins you want to confess? Anna Karenina?
So no, I've read that.
Madame Bovary?
I have not read Madame Bovary.
The House of Mirth?
I have not read The House of Mirth.
The Great Gatsby?
Oh, I love The Great Gatsby.
Okay.
I've read that. I am currently reading, and you're going to make fun of me because the last time...
I controlled myself with Nabokov. I can't stand him. I wanted to say, you talked about inventive use of language. If I ever find that in Nabokov, I'll be happy. But I held my tongue because I am the hostess with mostest.
I have been reading The Count of Monte Cristo, which... And you're going to make fun of me because I've been reading it a couple months now.
Well, it's a big book.
But, because I'm reading the unabridged version, which is...
Penguin?
1,400 pages, yeah.
Penguin's a brick.
Yes, it is. I think it is the Penguin. Or maybe it's the Modern Library. But it...
Hi, baby.
But yeah, so I'd never read that, and I'm currently
I was
reading
hoping for a new Count of Monte Cristo last year. Because there's this guy who's been doing a new Dumas translation every January.
Mm-hmm.
And he did The Last Cavalier, he did The Red Sphinx, he did The Three Musketeers. It's by far the best.
Haven't read that either. I know, right? Yeah.
I was hoping, obviously he's under contract to do Dumas, I was kind of hoping that he would give us a Count of Monte Cristo last year, and he didn't. So, all right, so in other words, the answer to this question is there are lots of books that have been on your TBR a long time. Okay,
yes.
Aside from classics, though, because I can beat up on anybody on BookTube. I'm the only one who's read the whole Western canon. But what about something else? Some newer book that you've been meaning to get to for a long time? Any of those that cross your mind that are big? Like, what about Wolf Hall?
Yes, that's true. I haven't.
That's
read,
one on there.
I haven't read Wolfall.
Okay, and what about Longborn by Joe Baker?
I haven't read Longborn.
Okay, or what's another one? Oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I just had it a second ago. I got it from Longborn just a second ago. That novel, the historical novel about the last woman executed for murder in Iceland. Her new book is called The Good People, and that's the only one I can think of. But never mind, you wouldn't. The answer would be no. What about if we go back a little bit further to like the last century's popular word of mouth, everybody's read it, bestseller type things, like for instance, Perfume.
Yes.
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 What about Jaws?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're just catching up. That's hey baby. Frida is actually climbing all over our legs. You just can't see her. I don't know why she's not getting into the camera. Hey baby. Why don't you come up
well,
here?
and you know, there's plenty of Uncle Livy out there that I haven't read too.
True. Tons.
Yeah.
Tons and tons. What did you read?
The one about Hannibal.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Question number. We have to keep track of the questions because I don't know if you're getting the sense, but we could do this all day long, and then I'd have a 2-hour video to deal with. So we'll keep track of the questions. Number 6. What is your go-to suggestion for a reader?
Just any reader?
In this case, I was talking about working in a bookstore. It'd be the same thing with you. And my answer to this question was, somebody comes in and says, I want a recommendation. I don't really have. I have to ask them questions.
Yes.
Only a bad bookseller would not ask questions.
And we don't know any of those.
We don't know any of those.
We don't know any bad
I went on a rant when I answered this question about how bad booksellers view reading as a kind of priesthood. And they know the right way to do it, and you don't. And they will gradually tell you what the right way is. And they will introduce you to the authors that you have to read at stage A and stage B and stage C. And I went on about how I hate such people. Absolutely hate them. They are poisonous to bookstores. And yet bookstores are the place where you find them. The priestesses of reading. It's absolute bull hockey. All of it, from start to finish. Why, some of the priestesses even dress in costume.
Don't get him going, BookTube. Don't get him going.
But their standard answer to that when I say it is, but we didn't get you going. You can't. You do it yourself. but like, for instance, if somebody came in and said, I'm looking for a recommendation, what would you do? That's happened to you countless times.
I would ask them what they have enjoyed reading in the past. Give me, say, 3 books that you enjoyed.
The standard, yeah. Give me 3 books you enjoyed. Okay. All right, so no go-to suggestion. The closest thing I came was The Killer Angels.
Oh, that's really good, yeah.
Because in bookstores, I used to say to customers, unless you're dead set against historical fiction, or fiction, just in general, if you're okay with fiction and you're okay with historical fiction, I used to tell customers, I have so much confidence that you will love this that if you don't, I will buy it back from you. Mm-hmm. And no one ever took me up on it. I
have no confidence in any of the books I enjoy that somebody else would like them.
Like I said, the human version of Steve.
I don't.
Question number 7. What are you currently reading?
The Count of Monte Cristo. And sadly, the same book I was reading last week, which is Daisy Jones and the Six.
And the Six.
Yeah.
How is
it? It's growing on me. I'm enjoying it a little more. But this week, I just didn't feel like reading that much. I read a little bit. I read a teen book that I didn't care for.
I went looking for that book, Daisy book? Jones and the Six.
Oh.
I went looking for it, and I don't any longer have a copy. And I was reminded of it by you last time, and I wanted to give it another go. But
well, it's especially embarrassing because it reads so quick, and the fact that it's taken me 2 weeks to read it might be an indication of something about the book itself.
Or about your obvious dementia.
Or my
obviously worsening dementia. One thing that I've got to read, I've got to reread it. I read it and thought this did nothing for me, and then a couple of people have told me that I was wrong, that it is actually good. Women Talking by Miriam Toews. That I know that I have a copy. I need to go
I'm not
back.
familiar with that at
It's
all.
brand new. You'll see it at the library, but I've.
Did something happen?
Oh no, the
okay.
screen goes dim whenever anyone on the video is being tedious.
Shut
Happens to me all the
up.
time.
Oh, good. It's about you. That works then.
It happened twice as fast this time.
But BookTube, see, I'm a really bad reader in that I'm easily distracted by new books, by other books.
They're all going to be nodding. They come here and feel terrible. They come to Steve and feel terrible. They laugh and feel terrible about themselves because I'm always yelling at them for getting distracted in the middle of books. They're all going to be nodding and wishing that this was your BookTube channel. Just remember, eyes on the prize. But how often does that happen? All the time? Really?
All the time.
Oh, God.
If you were to watch my Goodreads, not so much this year because I'm trying very hard this year, but if you had some sort of documentary of my BookTube's my Goodreads screen, you would see books go on the currently reading list, stay on the currently reading list as it grows longer and longer, and then suddenly the currently reading list gets decimated back down to the one book. and it's not because I finished them, it's just I realized...
Got sick of looking at them?
Yes, I realized, okay, my currently reading list is now 15 books. I'm not really reading any of them except one, so yeah.
I have been very spotty with Goodreads. I keep meaning to be better at it. And in 2016, I think, 2015, something like that, I had a spurt of industriousness. And I put down all the last 15 books that I'd read. And there was I saw the currently reading tab, and I thought, well, this is Goodreads, when in Rome. So I put in the title of the book that I was currently reading. And then I sort of went back to normal and forgot about Goodreads. I forgot that it existed at all.
There?
And months later, somebody left a comment on one of my videos saying, this guy thinks he's so smart, but I went on his Goodreads and he's been reading the same book for 6 months. And in the comments of that video, a whole bunch of people were saying, if you check other than Goodreads, you'll see that he's reviewed about 100 books since then. He just forgot to close it out. So I'm trying to, I don't do any currently reading now, because I'm worried that's going to happen again, and somebody's going to call me on the horrible fraud of the fact that I don't read at all. So now I don't use currently reading. I just do books that I'm done with, so that I can just make a record of that. And I don't use the star system. That held me away from Goodreads for a while, because it's so dumb. It's so lacking in nuance. How are you going to ask a professional book reviewer to give a star rating to a book? You want me to review a book in a way that doesn't even require you to read it. You just have to look to see what I thought. Please. I have many cliches.
Well, and the other thing with the star review is some people's 5-star reviews are not... Like, some people give 5-star reviews to everything. And everything is not 5 stars.
It's true.
There's got to be a standard of... At least your own standard. I mean, your own...
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like this as much as I liked this.
Well, like, for instance, if Goodreads... It must happen on Goodreads. If Goodreads had a standard, uniform thing where in addition to your list for reading books and your list for the star system and whatnot, you also had a short explanation of how you use the star system, right, then I might like it a little better. But
well, mine actually does. I actually wrote my...
Is there a place for you to do that?
No, well, in the description of yourself.
Oh.
And what kind of
maybe
reading
a lot of
you
people
are.
do that, and I just don't know. I haven't looked around.
No, I don't think so. But I just said, if I give it a 2-star review, this is what it means. If I give it a 3-star review, this is what it means. 4-star, this is what it means.
All right.
So for example, 4-star is a book I'd recommend to other people, but 5-star is a book that I want to own.
Bean, what are you eating? It's just wandering around, picking stuff off of the... What is that, baby Bean? That's a piece of manila. That's an envelope.
Yes, and I tried to chew it earlier, and it was not very good. Come here.
Baby, you look ridiculous with that hanging off your face.
As did I. Come here. No. She wants it.
All right, the bonus question is, how has literature influenced you?
I don't know. Other than the thing that we've heard occasionally, that the more you read, the more you empathize with other people, maybe? The more you think the more you put yourselves in other people's shoes. And
You've learned a lot from reading, too,
maybe
though,
it's
haven't
that.
you? Surely you've learned a lot from reading.
Like facts, yeah.
Facts.
Obviously.
Right? And it's also helped you in times of boredom or solitude.
Okay.
So it's
Yes.
influenced you in a lot of ways, right? Not just.
Well, that's what I
not
mean.
just
I can't separate myself from it
Ah.
because
I've
it's
noticed
who I
precious
am.
little empathy from you today.
Shut up.
See? That's like the 10th time she's told me to shut up. That's not very empathetic. Wouldn't catch the President of the United States doing that. He's a best-selling author. He's renowned for his empathy.
Nobody's more empathetic.
Nobody ever
No.
has been more empathetic.
No.
Except
nobody-
maybe the late, great Abraham Lincoln. And that's it. That is the Your
I hear
Readership
Putin's
tag.
pretty empathetic.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. He sends flowers to the funerals of every single journalism he kills. But that's it. That is the Your
Okay.
Readership tag.
All right, BookTube.
So there we go. We're done. Deb will be back soon. We'll do another tag. In the meantime, we'll wrap this up for now, but we'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.